T-minus 10, 9, 8,
The clock is
7.
operating. We're underway.
Tranquility Base here.
Endeavor, go and throttle up.
Okay, I show us less than 0.5 psi, and so I think you are go to open the hatch.
To a separator P of 0.4, P1, and PSID hanging a little bit. It's just below 0.6, waiting on the 0.5, and I'll be ready to go.
Copy that. And I'm showing 0.47 out here.
Okay.
82 submeters, 0.4.
Okay, there's 0.5 on the gauge.
Copy, EV2.
Go to open hatch, correct? Shannon, go to open hatch.
Open the hatch.
That's coming. Little chatter here.
The outer hatch now open on the Quest airlock.
Coming open. The thermal cover came open with the chatter.
With the hatch now open and the crew lock at vacuum, next step will be for the crew to place their suits on internal battery powered to officially begin today's spacewalk.
EV hatch is open.
Copy, the EV hatch is open. The emergency MPEV is closed, so over to you, Oscar.
Copy, Shannon, thank you. Okay, guys, if you're ready, on your DCM, take your switch power to bat and stagger your switch throws.
Okay, on my mark, EV1 coming to bat. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Okay.
EV1's in bat.
Okay, on my mark, EV2 coming to bat. 3, 2, 1, bat.
Copy. Check your display switch is functional.
Functional EV1.
Functional EV2.
Copy. Tracing on the UIA, take the switch power EV1 and 2 to off, and then check LEDs for or off.
Okay, stand by. You will, could you move forward a little bit towards your head? So I can see the lights, that's all. The EV1 power off, light is out. EV2 power is off, light is out.
Okay, go ahead and disconnect your SCU from your DCM and stow it, and install your cover.
That's in work.
In work.
This is Mission Control Houston with Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson having completed the throwing of the switches to place their suits on internal battery power. Today's spacewalk officially underway at 5:20 a.m. Central Time. Again, this 150th spacewalk in support of space station assembly and maintenance officially underway at 5:20 a.m. Central Time.
Pouch is the hardest task.
I'd like you to keep them moving on the post-depress, so you can go ahead and run the card where Oscar left off if we drop out here again.
It will do. And I ended up rebooting the SSC because it was all locked up.
Copy, thanks.
Wills and Tracy? For Tracy?
Stand by.
Wills and Tracy, Shannon's going to take over because we have Radicom here.
Okay, copy, Oscar.
Copy. Okay, pouch is on.
Good job, TC.
Good job, that is pesky. This doesn't want to go around so I could sit doing. Okay, Shannon.
Once again, the spacewalk beginning at 5:20 a.m. Central Time as Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson place their suits on internal battery power. The two spacewalkers now configuring their tethers, making sure that their equipment is aligned properly for their egress from the crew lock section of Quest. They'll be opening the thermal cover just moments from now. First out will be Doug Wheelock. He'll be attaching his safety tether to a handrail just outside of the hatch and will make his way out to set the stage for the emergence of Caldwell Dyson as they set up shop to begin moving toward the external stowage platform number 2, ESP2, that is on the outside, just outside and adjacent to the Quest. If you leave the airlock of Quest and hang a left, you'll be at that spare parts platform, and that's where the spare pump module resides, delivered to the International Space Station on the STS-121 mission of the Shuttle Discovery back in July of 2006. Again, the goal of today's spacewalk, the installation of the spare pump module, hooking up all of the electrical connectors to verify its electrical continuity, basically bringing it to life, then hooking up and opening up the fluid lines to enable ammonia to flow into the spare pump module from the ammonia tank assembly reservoir. Tomorrow, if all goes as planned, Loop A will be powered off. It is running. It will be running basically on a caretaker basis. Once the spare is installed today, Loop A is essentially activated today, then powered off for a very short period of time tomorrow, while a what is called a Destiny Laboratory Truss contingency jumper that was installed on the night of July 31st to maintain the proper loads from Loop A over to Loop B of the cooling system of the International Space Station. That jumper will be removed, and DC to DC converter units will be repowered on the new and revived Loop A cooling system. The systems in the Japanese Kibo module and the European Columbus module then will be reactivated tomorrow as well. And on Thursday of this week, a final power jumper will be removed to the Russian segment of the International Space Station, and the station will be back in its original configuration prior to the failure of the old pump module back on the evening of Saturday, July 31st.
32.0.
And here again, a view of the failed pump module that was removed from the S1 truss last Wednesday by Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson. It is mated to a payload attachment bracket, basically a grapple fixture on the mobile base system on the truss of the International Space Station. It will be returned eventually to external stowage platform number 2, where the replacement pump module currently resides. That activity has not yet been scheduled.
Okay, after that, other equipment hook is attached to the area extender.
Copy, Tracy.
They will. On the forward side?
On the forward side, yeah.
Okay.
And let me know if you how you want assistance with that.
And our first view from the wireless helmet cameras. The view from Doug Wheelock. You can see at the lower right-hand corner of your screen the ghosted number 19. Tracy Caldwell Dyson's helmet camera designated 20. The crew just outside of the hatch of the Quest airlock, setting up their tools and tethers. Wheelock soon to begin to move over to external stowage platform number 2 along with Caldwell Dyson to begin the preparations for the removal of the spare pump module from its berthing location on that spare parts platform.
Okay, I'm letting go. And after I'm going to bring my visor up, I think. Or come out.
Yeah, coming into nightfall here.
The International Space Station traveling 222 miles, moving from southwest to northeast, about to cross the southern coast of Australia.
I think it's TC.
Sacrament. Just get caught up.
Do a little pitch up, like straight up, and then clear. There you go.
And this view from Doug Wheelock's helmet camera showing Tracy Caldwell Dyson's legs as she emerges from Quest. She's gathering some tools, joining Wheelock outside. This is the third spacewalk for Caldwell Dyson, having accrued 15 hours and 29 minutes of spacewalking time back on August 7th and 11th. This is now the 6th spacewalk in the career of Doug Wheelock. Wheelock so far has amassed 36 hours and 10 minutes of spacewalking time, currently 27th on the all-time spacewalking list by aggregate time.
Turn to you first, or just get out from under here?
You can get out from under there, and then we'll get configured once you're on the particular handrail there. And if you, there you go, get a local on there, and then send me your BRT, and I'll get you configured here. Pedals are extended. Okay, here we go. And that as you need, and then let's just take a minute and check each other over here.
Let me get my... It is...
Here, I can start checking you now. I see your green light on your helmet camera looks good. Both of your lights are on. Going down, looks like you've got your bayonets are closed, and I see all your tools secure. Looking at your safety tether again, and I see you connected to your D-ring extender, black on black. The hook is locked. And I see your waist tether to the IRCM, and that's on your D-ring. And then to the IRCM, and I see black on black. They're unlocked. And your reel is unlocked. I see your BRT to the crew lock bag 2, and I see a rat to it as well.
Okay, well, I'm looking at your lights on. I see the green light for your camera. Cover's on. Look good. Got your...
A portrait of Tracy Caldwell Dyson from the helmet camera of Doug Wheelock as they set up shop outside the Quest airlock. They'll be configuring their SAFER units, the acronym for Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue, the jet packs that they wear on their suits. In the highly unlikely event they would become untethered, they could propel themselves back to the safety of structure.
The right waist tether is on your seat. They'll close like black on black. Yeah.
Once Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson make their way over to the spare parts platform, they will begin to set up their tools at that work site. Wheelock will ingress the portable foot restraint at the end of the Canadarm2 so that he can be maneuvered around by robotics officer Shannon Walker from the Destiny Laboratory inside the International Space Station.
Safer hand controllers, are they all down?
Yes.
At the same time that they get underway with the removal of the spare pump module from the spare parts platform, Wheelock will be breaking torque on the 4 bolts holding it in place on the external stowage platform itself. Tracy Caldwell Dyson will be removing dust caps and quick disconnect caps from the new pump, basically prepping it for its eventual installation in the S1 truss of the International Space Station.
TC, both your SAFER handles are down.
Copy, Wills.
Okay, getting the thermal cover. Thermal cover is, well, this thing is kind of flimsy, but it's closed.
Copy, thermal cover closed.
Okay, and Oscar, I'm moving to ESP fair lead handrail.
Yeah, Wills, your first fair lead with the wire tie is going to be on handrail 8024. That's on the ESP2 mount to the airlock. Should be on the nadir side.
8024, copy.
Spacewalk Officer David Beaver here in the flight control room has informed Flight Director Courtney McMillan that the crew is right on the timeline for phased elapsed time. That's the elapsed time for the spacewalk itself from the time the crew placed their suits on internal battery power 22 and a half minutes ago. They are running almost a half an hour ahead of the day.
Okay, there's 8024. I'm going to set up shop here. Feather off. Okay, GC, I'll be just a second here. Setting up just a fair lead.
No problem.
Okay, Oscar, I'm using a short wire tie off my BRT to handrail 8024.
Copy. 8024.
Shannon Walker now maneuvering the Canadarm2 over to the external stowage platform adjacent to the Quest airlock, placing it in the right configuration for Wheelock to plant his feet in a portable foot restraint at the end of the arm just a moment or two from now.
Hey, Will, is that alright? I just put it under that eyelet there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And Tracy, just a reminder.
Okay, that's it.
Go ahead, Wills.
Go ahead, Oscar, I'm sorry. Fair leads in place.
Copy. And Tracy, at the pump module MLI, just remember you want to minimize loads into those tether loops on the, the loops
Yes, sir.
on the MLI.
Okay. For the reminder.
Okay.
Oscar, I did a little poor man's fair lead on Will's safety tether at handrail 0503 on the equipment lock.
Copy.
More of a panoramic view of what lies ahead. As you see in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, the spacewalkers making their way from the Quest airlock to the work site on the starboard truss of the International Space Station. First, they'll be stopping off at external stowage platform number 2,
Shannon here.
where they will begin the work to remove the replacement pump module, the spare pump module, from its berthing location on that spare parts platform. You see in the middle of your screen the extended Canadarm2. Doug Wheelock will be moving towards the Canadarm2 to first plant his feet on a portable foot restraint at the end of the arm to be maneuvered up to the external stowage platform. And you see just below the end effector of the Canadarm2, that is the failed pump module that is mounted on a bracket called the POA, or the Payload Orbital Replacement Unit Attachment Device. The POA is just what it implies. It's a payload bracket to store payloads on a temporary basis on the mobile base system on the truss of the International Space Station.
Head to the, okay, there's width 5. So I know it, where that's going with the end. TC, look at you, threading the needle. Looking good.
This is good here. Okay, Oscar, I got a local on the frame handrail of the pump module. Is that cool?
Copy. Yep, that's okay.
Getting the crew lock bag set up.
Copy, Tracy. And we had handrail 8023 But if you pick another one, that's acceptable. Just let us know.
Okay. All right, looking right at it here.
Tracy Caldwell Dyson at external stowage platform number 2, joined by Doug Wheelock, and they'll be awaiting the arrival of the robotic arm. Wheelock will use that as a work platform today in the extraction of the replacement pump module from its location on that spare parts platform and its eventual installation into the open slot on the S1 truss, the starboard truss of the complex.
That's great placement, I think, to deconflict.
Okay.
We'll pass that on. And Tracy, let me know. I've got stuff you need out of your crew lock bag number 2 when you're ready.
Okay. Bye. And Wheels, I'm coming your way if you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Starting motion.
Shannon Walker now maneuvering Canadarm2 up to external stowage platform number 2 so that Wheelock can move in and ingress the portable foot restraint at the end of the arm. The International Space Station flying 222 miles above Micronesia, moving from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean. "31 minutes into today's spacewalk, scheduled to last about 6.5 hours. The crew got underway about 35 minutes ahead of schedule at 5:20 a.m. Central Time, placing their suits on internal battery power.
And Tracy, how you coming with stowing the crew lock bag?
It's stowed both I got an adjustable on 8023 and a integrated integrated hook on the slam handrail at the adjacent ORU, and I was just cleaning up my BRT.
Copy.
Caldwell Dyson will be taking a device called a torque multiplier out of her tool bag, basically called a crew lock bag, at external stowage platform number 2. That torque multiplier fits onto the pistol grip tool, the high-tech screwdriver that the crew uses to unbolt and rebolt bolts and screws on various components of the International Space Station. Wheelock will take that torque multiplier, attach it to the pistol grip tool, and break torque on the 4 bolts holding the spare pump module in place on ESP-2. You'll hear it referred to as that's external stowage platform number 2.
And Wills, I'm ready to bring the arm to you whenever you're ready.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do that first, and I'll Okay, Shannon, your zenith meter looks really good. Probably need to come station aft about probably 2 meters, and then probably a little bit port, but station aft right now would be good.
Okay, copy. Station aft, that'll be a pull on the anchor door. How about my safety tethers? Can you see that?
Don't see that yet. Stand by.
Okay. No worries.
Doug Wheelock at the top of your screen, wearing the suit bearing the red stripes. You can see it on his legs. Tracy Caldwell beneath him as Wheelock prepares to ingress the foot restraint at the end of Canadarm2.
Oscar, I'm attached on the right side with a 55-foot safety tether to the arm. It is anchored it's anchored on the arm, but the load alleviator end is connected to my right side D-ring extender, and my right waist tether is connected to the IRCM. Looking at both gates, they're closed, hooks locked, black on black.
Copy, Wills. That's good config.
Okay, and I'm going ahead and anchoring my airlock safety tether now. To 8010.
That's a good one. 8010.
Right. Copy. Okay, Oscar, and I'm going to the starboard standoff of 8010.
Copy. We can actually see it in your helmet cam.
Yep. Right gate is closed and locked. And black on black, releasing my waist tether from the IRCM.
Copy.
Okay. Now this waist tether is going to go on the boot plate.
Wheelock completing the configuration of his tethers before he eases his feet into the portable foot restraint at the end of Canadarm2. He'll then be maneuvered by Shannon Walker, who's operating the arm from the robotics workstation in Destiny to the spare pump module at its location on ESP-2.
And Wills, just a reminder on the ingress aid, when it's extended, it can become hot, so limit your contact.
Copy that. Good reminder. Thanks, Oscar.
Once Wheelock is at the work site where the spare pump is located, he'll be using his pistol grip tool to break the torque on 4 bolts, while Tracy Caldwell Dyson removes protective dust and fluid quick disconnect caps from both electrical and fluid lines on the new pump module.
Okay, and TC, double check my heels. I think I'm locked in.
I can see your left heel. Stand by. Drop low to get your right.
I'll flex a little bit here to...
Doug Wheelock moving into the foot restraint at the end of Canadarm2. Tracy Caldwell-Dyson already in the process of removing dust and protective caps from the electrical and fluid lines, the connectors for those fluid lines on the new pump.
How's that, TC? Can you see?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Say again?
It looks good.
Okay. All right, Shannon, I'm ready to maneuver in position. I think I agree with the consensus that let's come station forward a little bit, and then I'll do a pitch down into the work site. Station forward to get away from the structure a bit.
Okay, I copy. Station forward a little bit, and then pitch down, and I'm entering mode now.
Okay.
Okay, ready to start motion when you are.
I'm ready. Tools and tethers.
Station forward, push on the hand controllers.
Tools and tethers are clear.
Copy. Work site's clear. Starting motion.
A good view at the external stowage platform number 2. Doug Wheelock at the top of your screen, riding the end of Canadarm2. Tracy Caldwell-Dyson just to his right as she prepares the spare pump module that you see housed on the spare parts platform. She's moving some thermal insulation into the right configuration. Wheelock will be joining her to use a pistol grip tool to break the torque on 4 bolts holding that spare pump in place.
Okay, that's far enough forward, Shannon. That's good.
Okay, stopping forward motion.
Okay, now let's come forward, probably a couple meters.
Okay, coming forward. Left on the hand controller. Starting motion.
And Shannon, with the lab camera, you've got good clearance between my helmet and the lab surface, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Continue, that's good.
Okay, continuing motion.
Okay, stop motion port.
Stopping port motion.
Okay, and Oscar, I can read you the pump module serial number is 0004. I hope that's the one you guys wanted.
Luckily it is.
Sweet. Okay, let's see. Now wait for it.
You want me out of the way?
Yeah, I just wondered your game plan. You're coming back by the crew lock back, correct?
Well, for now, I'm just putting the caps on this fish stringer here, and I still got to get M1 and all those. I can perhaps go Zenith to clear up the bolt area for you.
And Tracy, if you want to take the fish stringer and move that Zenith with you, you could be out of Will's way.
Liking that plan. 1 second. Drop off this electrical cap.
The view from Tracy Caldwell Dyson's helmet camera as she stows the dust and quick disconnect caps having been removed from a variety of connectors on the spare pump module. In addition to the spare pump residing on this stowage platform adjacent to the Quest airlock, the ESP-2 also holds a pair of DC switching units, main bus switching unit, various spare parts for the Canadarm2, fixed head rotary coupler, all critical components for the lifetime of the International Space Station.
Okay, so so far I have both electrical caps on the fish stringer.
Copy, Tracy.
What bolts are you starting with? 1 or 4?
Actually, the order. The order doesn't matter on the brake and the torque, correct, Oscar?
No, it does not. And Tracy, we probably think it's easier if you just pass the torque multiplier off to Wheels.
Okay. Wheels, you got a ret?
I'm going to send you a ret. Stand by. If you do a re-all right, then...
1 second.
Okay.
Eyes are down.
Doug Wheelock again will be using a pistol grip tool to apply about 25.5 foot-pounds of torque to break the torque on these 4 bolts. The bolts will not be released, however, until a few minutes from now. He'll be releasing 3 out of the 4 bolts, enabling Tracy Caldwell Dyson to move electrical cables out of the area of thermal insulation, basically clearing the path for Wheelock to slide the pump module out of its moorings on that spare parts platform. The spare pump weighs about 780 pounds on Earth. Its mass fairly considerable, as he will be manhandling that over to the slot on the starboard 1 truss affixed to the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm.
Stand by. I'm going to get it in my bayonet and then tether on it. I'll release your tether.
The view from Doug Wheelock's helmet camera, working with Tracy Caldwell Dyson side by side in this 3rd in the suite of spacewalks to restore full cooling capability to the International Space Station.
Back.
Got it.
Okay, Oscar, I've got positive control of the torque multiplier. I've got a ret to it. It's locked in my bayonet.
Copy, Wheels.
Okay, let's see. I'm wondering if I could maybe go outboard and, inboard and get the bolt 1 and 2 first. I'll wait for TC to...
Yeah, I think that'd be good, and I'll get up here.
Okay, Shannon, let's go ahead and, if you're ready, I'd like to come port about a meter.
Okay, I copy. I'm ready. Port about a meter. That's left on the hand controller. Starting motion.
keeping your place clear. TC, if you feel push on me a little bit. And the APFR will be behind you there. Good motion, Shannon.
Good motion. Okay. Wills, am I going to get in your way right here?
Yeah, probably if your road's that way. If you can go zenith a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, let me get, I got to get in front of you before I can get out of your way.
Okay, stop motion port, Shannon.
Motion port.
So we might need to sweeten that up as I get closer, but I'll let you know. We can hold right here for a second. And
holding.
Doug Wheelock on the left, Tracy Caldwell Dyson on the right. As our picture is frozen, moving out of range of our tracking and data relay satellite system, you see behind them one of the two Soyuz vehicles that carries astronauts and cosmonauts to the International Space Station, that being the Soyuz TMA-18 that delivered Alexander Skvortsov, Tracy Caldwell Dyson, and Mikhail Kornienko to the station back in April.
Starting motion.
Now 54 minutes into the spacewalk by Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson, the crew operating ahead of the timeline, having begun the spacewalk about 35 minutes ahead of schedule and running now almost true to form on the timeline itself, as Doug Wheelock is now in position, hovering over the spare pump module on external stowage platform number 2, ready to use a pistol grip tool to break torque on bolts mechanically holding the spare pump in place.
I'll tell you when, probably about 20 degrees or so.
Now, here we go. Starting motion.
Good motion.
Copy, good motion.
Okay. That motion mirror.
Copy motion.
Okay. And then, let's see. Yeah.
Find your way?
Well, I'm just trying to make sure that your legs are clear. If you can, well, I can wait till you get those caps, because I can assist you with the caps. I'm just trying to, are you going to go zenith now, or?
I can. 1 second. I'll have to go, with my, local tether, so
Okay,
nearby.
Actually, if you could hold right there, parallel, if you could just,
I'm going to swing my legs up.
That'd be great.
But before I do that, I have to move my local tether.
Copy that. Okay, Shannon, you got the clearance on my helmet to the lab, correct?
I have reasonable clearance. The crew lock bag on your BRT is blocking my view slightly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Is that okay?
Great, thank you.
Okay, because I'll need to come forward just a little bit, maybe about 20 centimeters or so, if you could take that.
Okay, I can bring you forward a little bit. We'll see how far we can go. Left on the hand controller, starting motion.
Motion.
Copy, good motion.
Okay, stop motion there, that's good.
That's about where I wanted to stop, thanks.
Okay, and let's come station aft, about a half a meter.
Station aft, about half a meter.
Tracy's clear.
That's a pull on the hand controller. Starting motion.
While Doug Wheelock is being fine-tuned into position above the spare pump module. This view from Tracy Caldwell-Dyson as she continues work to remove protective caps from the fluid connectors on the new pump that will be extracted from the external spare parts platform a short time from now and maneuvered by Wheelock over to the S1 truss slot, to which it will be installed and bolted into place.
Hey, Oscar, is it all right to local to the pump before Bill's, while he's doing the torquing, breaking the torque?
We're checking.
Okay, stop motion there, Shannon.
Motion.
That looks good. I think I can get these from here, so.
Okay, and I can still see your car, so it's good.
Tracy, you have a go to local tether to the pump module.
Thanks.
Come underneath you here. I'll be out of your way. Okay.
Oscar, when I took my BRT off the square thread interface, it still looks clean.
Good.
I'm on the side handrail now.
Good deal. Thank you, Tracy.
Bills, you got enough room?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, Oscar, I guess either one of these bags first, yeah?
It doesn't matter. Wheels, either one of them.
And with the elapsed time of today's spacewalk marked at 5 hours 13 minutes and counting, you can see Doug Wheelock at the end of the station's robotic arm.
Just to the side is good.
And Tracy Caldwell-Dyson as they clean up the final elements at the S1 truss worksite, where the new spare pump module has been installed and hooked up and activated.
Inside or outside or?
The International Space Station flying from southwest to northeast, 222 statute miles above China.
Perfect. I can do that right now.
Doug Wheelock is actually now out of the portable foot restraint. He is on the top of your screen wearing the suit bearing the red stripes, being assisted by Tracy Caldwell-Dyson as they gather up all of their tools and tethers prior to moving on to the next task, time permitting, which would be the installation of an extension cable called the J612 cable from the Quest airlock to the Unity module of the International Space Station. This is a task that, if time permits today, is required before the installation of the permanent multi-purpose module, the logistics module that will be carried in the payload bay of the shuttle Discovery on the STS-133 mission in November, commanded by veteran astronaut Steve Lindsay.
I got all the bags down.
Looks good, Tracy. Can we go ahead and get a glove check from you?
Sure. They look good, both of them.
Copy, good gloves.
What else do you want help with one of those bags, or should I start cleaning up the fish stringers?
Yeah, I think I have to maybe connect the vent tool inside the extender inside the vent tool bag, correct, Oscar?
Yeah, Wills, we're no longer connecting. We're just moving the vent tool into the vent tool extender bag. We saved you some steps.
After that. Turn this back around.
Tracy Caldwell Dyson reporting clean gloves following the work that she and Doug Wheelock have conducted to install the new spare pump module in the S-1 truss of the International Space Station. Caldwell Dyson will be coupling together two crew equipment translation carts. These are basically carts that carry spare parts and apparatus for work on the outside of the International Space Station. Those carts, once coupled, will be moved later on robotically on the station's mobile base system to another work site in preparation for the STS-133 mission's spacewalks in November.
Get that corner tether, that'd be sweet.
Otherwise, this is a moment in time for the two spacewalkers to collect all the rest of their tools and tethers, ensuring that they have all of the inventory secured or in the work site at the S-1 truss before they move back to external stowage platform number 2 near the Quest airlock.
Actually, I'm going to get this adjustable on it. Well,
Are you done with it?
pardon me?
Are you?
There you go. You have on my handrail or not? I'm going to move down this other corner. I'll get this other corner down here.
And Wills and Tracy, remember, we're good with just 3 of the tethers around the square grids.
Okay.
And it can go with these integrated equipment hooks. Also, it can go around a handrail and back to its D-ring, or does it need to go to the handle of the bag?
You can go back to the D-ring.
Okay. All right, was that one secure?
Okay. We got the 3 corners there.
We were basically figuring that we could get the 2 on the handle side around and back to the handle, and then the other side could go around and back to the D-ring.
Okay, then TC, I don't know if, oh, you're BRT, right? So,
Yeah.
I was going to put this one up above there. Just Zenith.
Up here?
Yeah, Zenith right beside the bags. I was going to turn it so it opens.
pump jumper inside the bag?
No, I'm going to put it inside so that I get the bag down. Okay,
The ventol's in
gonna see if I can...
the ventol's in the pump jumper bag.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get that up on an echo.
Oh.
Up on echo, I don't know if you...
'Gonna go this high with it?
Yeah, that'd be all right. And then get that third corner up there.
Okay. Up there?
Yeah, can you reach that? Or
I gotta take my VRT off.
I'll climb up there and get it.
Five hours, 25 minutes into the spacewalk. Doug Wheelock and Tracy Caldwell Dyson still cleaning up their tools and tethers, gathering them up, placing them in the proper bags, maintaining inventory as we head into the home stretch of today's spacewalk.
I can even get credit for that because it was too close in.
I'll give you credit.
The oldest of four spare pump modules residing on the International Space Station was installed earlier today during the heart of the spacewalk to complete 3 spacewalks worth of Herculean work on the part of the spacewalkers themselves and ground teams here in Mission Control, who have worked tirelessly for the past 16 days since the failure of the pump module on the starboard 1 truss that took down half of the station's cooling system.
I don't want to drop down low yet because Wheels is starboard of me. So let me just clean up this, I'll clean up this fish stringer until Mills can go more inboard. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, that sounds good. I just wanted, I don't know if I might need help with this ventral extender. I just want to make sure this thing doesn't get away from me here.
Yeah, after Will's had to go nadir of me on the cedar cart.
Hey, Tracy, we got one more item for cleanup.
Yeah.
If you look on grid G, there's a long wire tie that was holding the brake handles. You can go ahead and hotel. If you can retrieve that.
Okay.
Once the spacewalk is completed, the work yet to be done to reintegrate Loop A back into the station's cooling system will call tomorrow, Tuesday, for Loop A to be powered off. all of the loads currently powered by a contingency jumper that has transferred loads from the Loop A cooling loop to Loop B since the failure of the pump module back on July 31st. Those loads will be powered off temporarily. The crew inside the International Space Station will remove that lab truss contingency jumper that was installed on the night of July 31st to transfer loads to Loop B. Then the DC to DC converter units will be reactivated to repower Loop A and the pump module. And other configurations will occur to bring back online the Kibo Japanese module systems as well as the European Columbus module systems. And by Thursday, all of the configuration activity will be complete, and a final power jumper providing contingency power to the Russian segment of the International Space Station will be removed and will be back in business the way we were before the failure occurred on July 31st.
Copy. Thank you.
Wales, you got that lock bag with you?
Yes.
Okay.
That might be okay. Yeah. Okay, Oscar, just for inventory purposes, I just picked up a small thread that was tying down one of the bags and a small adjustable and a large small adjustable from the two bags.
Copy.
Also, I got that other fish stringer here.
I see that. That will go back into the crew lock bag.
Yep, and it's got an adjustable on it. And I tell you what, oh well, they're not cluttering up my workstation. I was going to put those other adjustables on the fish stringer, but I'll just bring them in on my workstation.
I copy.
That'll work if we get that closed.
Fine.
Pull that lid down on that side. Oscar, the ventral extension's in there and secured.
Copy, Wills. And Wills, can you check on the vent tool bag? I saw you had it tied down, but we need to have at least one of the integral tethers that goes around the square grid needs to go back to the handle standoff. All the other ones can go back to D-rings, but we need one to go back to the handrail standoff.
Yes, there is one on grid Bravo that goes back to the handrail.
Copy. Thank you.
The soft handrail, yeah. Got it.
And then, Will, when you get into the pump module jumper bag, can you confirm for us that there is an integral tether inside that bag?
Copy that.
We believe there is, but we're not completely confident.
Pull that through there, TC. Already got 3 of them, but I just wanted to get that one. Good measure.
I have a whole lot of slack on that.
No. We've already got 3 of them, so I was thinking maybe we could go to the corner of this bag.
I don't think that'll hose up the next one.
No, yeah, just keep them separate. I think that'll actually be fine if there are 3 tethers on that, so.
Okay.
3 of the corners, so. Okay, Oscar, I don't know if you have helmet cam.
Not now. We do not have helmet cam right now.
Okay, there are several integral, like an adjustable straps in there with hooks on the end. It looks like 3 of them. Could be 3 of them right now.
Okay, copy.
Inside the module bag. Jumper bag.
Five hours, 39 minutes into the spacewalk, Wheelock and Caldwell-Dyson continuing to clean up the work site at the S1 truss, ensuring that all of the tools and tethers are gathered appropriately and that the closeout of the spare pump module is complete.
That's on my mini workstation now.
Copy, and we have helmet cam back with you guys again.
Tracy Caldwell-Dyson, now this view from her helmet camera as she begins to couple together 2 CETA carts. These are crew equipment translation carts that carry a variety of tools and other apparatus for spacewalk support.
Let me know when you're ready for this fifth stringer and that crew lock.
The 2 CETA carts had to be decoupled or separated from one another at the beginning of the first spacewalk so that the crew members could gain access to the S1 truss work site for the removal of the failed pump module. Now they'll be coupled back together again so they can be commanded to move down the rail system of the International Space Station and pre-position for work yet to be done on the STS-133 spacewalks in November by crewmates Tim Copra and Al Drew, part of Discovery's crew.
I see, Wills. All the integral tethers.
You see there's integral tethers in this little pocket.
Copy.
Wheelock now ensuring that the pump module jumper box that was utilized to maintain and regulate pressure in the ammonia tank assembly in the absence of a functional pump module. That's the jumper box that is being stowed in a crew lock bag and being tethered in place inside the bag. That pump module jumper inside that bag will be affixed on one of the CETA carts left outside the International Space Station in case it ever needs to be used again.
They're trying to wrap a present in these gloves.
Yeah.
Got it. There you go, Will. Thanks, Will.
I don't know if you can you put a hand on top of that, TC? Pull it through. I don't know if that tether might be too tight around that handle.
And Will's
Yeah, I think I got.
Dave Bieber says that flap was added just for your convenience.
Huge thanks to all the engineers that designed that. Actually, it's not a bad bag. I'm going to probably, let me get this other tether on, TC.
Oh, I see. Tether's down here.
Yeah, that tether's gone its length, so can you release that? I've got another tether on it.
This is Mission Control Houston. The spacewalk officers here reporting that the crew's exposure to the sun has done the trick in completing the time required for the so-called bake-out of any residual ammonia flakes on their suits, so no further decontamination work required. There were no leaks noted during the time that the crew was working with the fluid line connections to the new spare pump module. But just to be on the safe side, the environmental systems officer wanted some additional exposure time in the sun to sublimate any possibility of any flakes still existing on the suits. That time has now come and gone, and the suits are now declared safe to be brought inside without any contamination of the Quest airlock in play.
One of the adjustables is on the handrail now, and it's tucked underneath the pocket there, Oscar.
It looks good to us.
Okay.
Close it up and say goodbye to your jumper box.
Yeah. Goodbye. If you get that side for me, I'd appreciate it.
Do you want me to take your adjustable off of it now? Got it
Sure.
secured. Got that one quarter turn faster there.
Okay.
5 hours, 44 minutes into the spacewalk. The crew just about complete with the cleanup of the S1 truss work site. Now we'll couple together those two seated carts. Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson will double team their efforts here to try to conserve time in coupling those two seated carts together, after which we'll reevaluate the time and see if we do in fact have enough time to press ahead with the J612 extension cable task.
The APFR that you used today.
Okay. Hey, all of it was what you called out before, the job one
Okay.
bucking of 12. It was Sierra, and the roll was Fox. The yaw right now is probably 4.
Is that 4?
It's the taupe.
Okay.
I think. I can't see it. I'm just looking at it and judging by where it was, and it might be.
If you could just confirm the yaw for us, I think that'd be good.
I will.
Okay, we want to do that fish stringer now, TC?
Yeah. It's better for you.
I know you've been anxious to get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
And Wills and Tracy, while we got the crew lock bag open, we'll go ahead and take an inventory.
Give you this, and
Okay.
I'll go prepare the color.
Okay, leave that end connected.
Okay.
Okay, Oscar. A little busy, but we'll go nice and slow and see. Okay.
Copy. Slow works for me.
Kulak bag, okay. Kulak bag 1. On the outside, I've got a large, small, adjustable tether. That's the one I picked up that was stored outside, on the outside. Okay, inside, I've got an EVA camera. That's on its own ret to a D-ring.
Copy.
I've got the QD, 1.5-inch QD release tool. I've got a pocket caddy with a 7/16" wobble and the 5/8 that I was used on the bolts. I've got the bail lever drive tool. 2 fish stringers. Well, one's in the bag and one's going to be in the bag here shortly. A round scoop. Wire tie caddy. And let me close this side and reopen the other side. Okay, TC, you can release that out of the fish stringer. Oscar, stand by. I'm going to close the one side and open the other side to finish it out. Actually, I may. Oscar, any problem? I'm going to just run the strap of the fish stringer outside of the bag and hook the other end of the fish stringer to the handle.
That's acceptable.
The Kulak, because that's getting real busy in there. Yeah, I've got it, TC. Feathered inside the bag. I'm going to take the other large hook, the other end of the fish stringer, and put it to the handle. Bill?
And Tracy, did you get the yaw setting for us?
Yes, I did. It's roll. I mean, wait a second. Let's start from the beginning. It's 12 Sierra Fox 3.
3. Copy.
What was I trying to say?
That's okay.
Okay, that's good. I've got a large, small red in there. Let's see. Okay.
Hey, Oscar?
Go ahead, Tracy.
If you'll remind me that my safety tether is wrapped around with 4 of this, I can try to go zenith of wheels and make my way over to starboard.
Yeah, and I lost the last part of your call, Tracy.
I can go over to the starboard seat of cart. Try to go zenith of wheels right now on the
Okay.
cart
I
that we're
copy.
on.
And that'd be a good idea. So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Okay, Oscar, that's all I can see in the Kulak bag. Was there something else on the list there that yes, I can run back through it again if you need me to.
Let me check.
Okay. So running down through again, I got the camera. I've got the 1.5-inch CD release tool.
Yeah,
I've got a socket caddy.
We're good on tools. We'll just, as we go through the rest of our inventory on the mini workstation stuff, we'll pick up the tethers. For tool-wise, that's what we expected.
Okay, copy.
Be advised, wheels, the pump module on the tow is right behind your twist.
Okay, copy. All right, Oscar. Do I move back the arm? Is it the next?
Stand by.
Or do I grab crew lock back too?
Port, Wills, I have Tracy going off to get the starboard city cart ready to stow. I'd like you to get the port cart ready, and I have the checks for you when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna need those because I didn't study this one, so.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. That's it.
So, Wills, first thing we're checking is that the starboard brake handles are straight with the collars locked.
They're straight. No, straight.
Flying 222 miles above the Pacific Ocean from northwest to southeast.
Station forward.
Off the west coast of South America. This view from Doug Wheelock's helmet camera, 5 hours 53 minutes into the spacewalk. Everything proceeding well. The new spare pump module in place, activated, up and running, and filled with ammonia in advance of the actual work yet to be done over the course of the next 3 days to reactivate fully and integrate the Loop A cooling system back online for the first time since it went down along with the failed pump module on the night of Saturday, July 31st.
Yes, I am.
Thank you, TC.
Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson working very efficiently, as they have been since the beginning of the spacewalk today. They were awakened at about 1 a.m. Central Time after spending the night in the Quest airlock in their camp out to begin to rid their bloodstreams of nitrogen and prevent a condition known as the bends from occurring, decompression sickness, as they moved out into the void of space today.
What's the other option, Oscar?
We copy, guys. Stand by. We're still talking it.
Okay.
Take your visor on?
Pardon me?
Take your visor down?
No. No, why?
I was just you're getting blasted with that sunlight.
Coming down now.
The other option is,
Go ahead and start over there, maybe.
Wills and Tracy, we got a decision.
It works.
Guys, you with me?
good.
Okay, we're going to call this a victory.
Go ahead, Alf.
We're going to call this a victory and go ahead and we're going to drop the J612 task and ingress the airlock. So, Wills, you got to go ahead and release your fare lead off of ESP2.
Okay. Copy. That can work.
And so as we approach the 7-hour mark into today's spacewalk, the decision finally made by Flight Director Courtney McMillan that although the consumables are still acceptable, they're on the edge, especially for Doug Wheelock, operating, as is Tracy Caldwell Dyson, on MEDOX canisters, metal oxide canisters that don't quite have the same life for a particular spacewalk as do lithium hydroxide canisters. And as a result, we've decided not to pursue the J612 cable extension cable installation today. That will be left for a future date and a future spacewalk in preparation for the installation of the permanent multipurpose module by the crew of Discovery on the STS-133 mission in November. This is A small issue, however, in the priority list. The big ticket item, of course, was accomplished earlier today with the installation of a spare pump module in the S1 truss of the International Space Station, the hookup of electrical connections and fluid lines, the filling of that pump with ammonia to set the stage for the next few days worth of work to reactivate and reintegrate the Loop A cooling system that went down with the failure of the old pump module back on July 31st, taking down half of the station's cooling system. With a spare pump module installed and declared healthy and functional, we expect full cooling capability and a restoration to the original configuration and the normal configuration for the International Space Station no later than Thursday. The crew will now work to clean up all of the remaining tools and their work sites outside of the Quest airlock and move back inside the airlock to begin repressurization to wrap up this third spacewalk in what has been a trio of some of the most complex work ever attempted on the International Space Station to replace this critical item, the pump module that essentially feeds ammonia coolant into the cooling loops to keep all of the electronics of the station at the right temperature.
Great.
Raptor, you said around your C or your BRT?
Okay. Look at my right side, my 55-foot safety tether, I think it just got back behind when I was getting off the arm.
The 55-foot?
Pardon me? You see my right waist tether, do you? Is it there?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have that?
It's on the Orcam? Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. It did go around.
That's all right.
Yeah, you're okay though.
Okay, yeah. Let's see, the Orcam, nice to hear,
Orcam of your 85 foot?
I want my, need to get my right waist tether though, if you can.
This is Mission Control Houston, a shade over 7 hours into today's spacewalk. Just to recap, Doug Wheelock making the sixth spacewalk of his career, and Tracy Caldwell Dyson making the third spacewalk in the past 11 days. Working in tandem and working very efficiently, moved outside of Quest after putting their suits on internal battery power at 5:20 Central Time this morning to begin the spacewalk, this third in the series of complex work outside to replace the failed pump module on the International Space Station. The spare pump was removed from a spare parts platform just outside of the Quest airlock. Doug Wheelock manhandled the pump over to the S1 truss, installed it. It was hooked up electrically, bolted in place, fluid lines connected, and ammonia was flowed inside to the pump itself. It was declared active and healthy and ready to support operations in the future.
Thermal covers open.
Copy.
With that complete, the crew also coupled together two crew equipment translation aid carts, or CETA carts, on which a variety of tools and bags of equipment are stowed on the truss of the International Space Station. Those carts hooked up once again to the mobile transporter system, the rail car on the truss. They had to be decoupled for the crew to gain access to the work site at the S1 truss for the replacement of the pump module. The crew then had to collect a plethora of equipment at the work site to make sure that they had all of the equipment available that they took out on these 3 spacewalks. That took a little bit more time than had been planned, but the major task was completed, of course, that being the replacement of the failed pump module, which now will be available to cool the station's Loop A cooling system once again, once Loop A is brought back online beginning tomorrow, with the final configuration of systems planned for Thursday. The only task that we could not get to was essentially a lower priority task to attach a power extension cable called the J612 cable from the Quest airlock to the Unity module to prevent any interference that could occur with the installation of the Permanent Multi-Purpose Module, or the PMM logistics module, by Discovery's astronauts on the STS-133 mission coming up in November.
Okay, I'll leave it on.
Okay, releasing your safety tether. Here comes your safety tether. Get it?
Which side are you? Oh, you're on the outside.
Yeah, you're clear. You're good to go in now, TC.
Okay. Well, need to help you with the crew lock bag, or you got that?
Yeah, it's gonna. If you have a second.
Of course.
Stand by. Just
whatever time you need.
Roger that. Stand by.
I don't know.
So the J612 cable task will be deferred to another day and another EVA. And that discussion will be ongoing between the flight control team and the International Space Station Program Management.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's inside.
This view from Doug Wheelock's helmet camera shows Tracy Wheelock's legs as she is halfway in and halfway out of the Quest airlock, the crew lock section. Both crew members will be heading back in momentarily, and will close the hatch to wrap up this 3rd spacewalk by the duo in the replacement of the pump module, one of the most complex tasks ever undertaken in space station assembly and maintenance, this being the 150th spacewalk in support of station assembly and maintenance, now at the 7-hour, 5-minute mark.
Stand by?
No, you're okay.
Okay.
And I've got a red on, and I got my BRT.
Okay.
Let me release my BRT.
Yeah.
Let it come back down a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, my BRT is released. I still have a red on it to the side.
Okay, I'm going to just pull it up here.
Now the view from Tracy Caldwell Dyson's helmet camera.
Red on it.
You see one of the control panels inside the crew lock section of the Quest airlock, the outermost section of the 2-compartment Quest airlock. The crew in the process of bringing the rest of their equipment inside before they close the hatch and begin the process of repressurizing the airlock that will mark an end to today's spacewalk. This actually the 4th spacewalk for Expedition 24. In late July, just a few days before the failure of the pump module, a Russian spacewalk was undertaken by Fyodor Yurchikhin and Mikhail Kornienko to outfit the recently arrived Rosviet module for an automated docking capability through the Kurs rendezvous system.
Those your red's coming back to you.
Great, thanks.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
I'm releasing it. Get it? Or is it wrapped around my?
That's around your.
Got it now?
That's around your waist tether. Stand by.
Got it now? Yeah, pull the rest of the way in.
A mission status briefing will be held later this afternoon, no earlier than about 2:30 p.m. Central Time. It could be a bit later than that. Kirk Shireman, the Deputy Program Manager for the International Space Station Program, the Spacewalk Flight Director Courtney McMillan, and the Lead Spacewalk Officer David Beaver will be your briefers today, and we'll keep you posted on the exact time for that briefing, no earlier than about 2:30 Central Time.
Connected black on black. Gates closed and locked. Okay, Oscar, Tracy's inside. She's secured, and I've got my right waist tether to the airlock V-ray extender.
Copy all, Wheels. and I copy that you guys are in a good config.
I'm just releasing my airlock safety tether now.
You have a go for that.
Okay. All tethers and tools are cleaned up on the outside of the airlock. And with you go, Oscar, ahead and sign.
You have a go to ingress.
Come in.
Wheelock and Caldwell Dyson now heading back inside the crew lock of the Quest airlock for good. What began with the failure of the pump module on the starboard truss of the International Space Station on the evening of Saturday, July 31st, ends today in a triumphant note with the installation of the spare pump module. It took 3 AVAs to accomplish this complex work, but the spare is up and running in great shape and is ready now to work for the reintegration of the Loop A cooling system. The initial activation will begin later today, actually, with a diagnostics test. The initial configuration of systems will begin tomorrow and will conclude, if all goes as planned, on Thursday with the International Space Station back in its normal configuration. The thermal cover is being closed now on the outer hatch. The hatch will be closed a short time from now, and the crew will begin the process of repressurization of the Quest airlock to mark an end to today's spacewalk.
Your SUs from the storage pouch and made them to your DCM, and then check the SU is locked.
That's in work. That's in work. How's the pump looking, Oscar?
Checking. The pump is looking good.
Oh, sweet. Mr. Suffredini himself, hope the day continues like this as we start everything back up when we got our station back.
Concur with that.
We got our station back, the operative phrase for the day from spacewalker Doug Wheelock as he wraps up the 6th spacewalk of his career.
Oscar, my SU is gated and locked.
Copy, Tracy. And remember, Tracy, between 8 and max cold will give you quicker SCU cooling.
Oscar, I'm still working. Bye-bye.
Copy, Wheels. And we're still getting helmet cam of you guys. So we're getting an extra treat today.
All right.
And the view from Tracy Caldwell Dyson's helmet camera inside the Quest airlock and the checklist for the repressurization of the crew lock.
SCU closed and locked, EV1.
Copy, EV1 SU closed and locked. Okay, both take our water to off, forward, and you will get an H2O is off message.
Water's off, EV1, got the message.
Ditto for EV2.
Copy. We got a 2-minute wait before we can close the hatch.
Roger.
And in the equipment lock, peering through the window on the intravehicular hatch, as it is called, is Shannon Walker, who once again drove the robotic arm, the Canadarm2 today, with Doug Wheelock fixed to the end of it in a portable foot restraint. Did so with precision in order to position Wheelock at the correct locations around the work site for the installation of the new spare pump module.
Zwei US-Astronauten ist es gelungen, das defekte Kühlsystem der Internationalen Raumstation ISS wieder instand zu setzen. Mehr als 7 Stunden brauchten die beiden, um eine defekte Ammoniakpumpe auszutauschen. Insgesamt waren für die Reparatur 3 Außeneinsätze nötig. Die NASA hatte eigentlich nur 2 eingeplant.
Seal off its ruptured oil well in the Gulf of Mexico are on hold again. Scientists are trying to make sure the pressure within the well is stable before launching the so-called bottom kill to seal the well from below. Well, no one knows for sure just how much crude oil spilled into the Gulf of Mexico after the Deepwater Horizon explosion that happened on April 20th. And now, no one's quite sure where all the oil went. But we may get some answers today. CNN's Ed Lavandera has this from St. Petersburg, Florida, with this CNN exclusive.
This is the Weatherbird 2, a research vessel that has been used by the University of South Florida for the last 10 days investigating the oil spill. Some 13 scientists have been on board, and they're just now coming home to St. Petersburg. So what's in these containers right here?
Water in here has been was collected from 50 meters.
David Hollander was one of the lead researchers on the mission.
Do you feel like you're kind of on the verge of really getting a better understanding of what's going on underneath the water?
Oh, I think we're adding to the puzzle. We're adding to the pieces of the puzzle. Is where we found the sedimentary oil.
Hollander and another expert on the journey, John Paul, sat down with CNN for an exclusive review of their findings. The USF scientists say they found toxic levels of oil and dispersants infecting marine organisms just 40 miles south of Panama City, Florida. The organisms, called phytoplankton and other microscopic bacteria in the ocean, are the foundation of the food chain.
What feeds and fuels the ecology of the ocean. And if those guys are in trouble, then the ocean's in trouble.
So far, federal government scientists have downplayed the impact of microscopic oil making its way up the food chain. This is what the head of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said earlier this month.
Fish will degrade that oil and process it naturally. And so it doesn't bioaccumulate. So it's not a situation where we need to be concerned about that. Over time, it will be broken down.
USF scientists tell CNN that is a short-sighted view of the danger. NOAA officials haven't responded to these latest scientific findings. The 10-day mission in the Gulf of Mexico was a rocky voyage. The scientists were battered with 12-foot seas and strong storms, taking them within 25 miles of the Deepwater Horizon spill site. All along the way, they found microscopic droplets of oil on the ocean floor.
Right here is a sedimentary record from an area that's about 1,500 meters water depth, right adjacent to the Deepwater Horizon.
Using UV light on the sediment, the microscopic oil stands out easily.
You can see them all spread out all over. There's no reflection, some of those were before, but this is all speckled. And when you turn off the light completely, it looks like the southern sky.
Yeah, it looks like a constellation of stars.
It looks like a constellation of stars.
But most troubling to David Hollander is evidence that the submerged oil is making its way through a region of the Gulf of Mexico known as the De Soto Canyon. The canyon stretches from just east of the Deepwater Horizon spill site to an area south of Panama City.
So the concern is not only that you found the droplets of oil widespread, but where you found it.
Yeah, it's becoming now into these areas that are critical marine protected areas, critical habitats for commercial and recreational fish.
Ed Levendera then, he joins us now. And Ed, it's fascinating stuff that you showed there, the kind of pictures that you see, the droplets that you can see in the ocean bed. I guess the question is, how long can it actually, I don't know if it stayed there, but how difficult is it going to be to clean all that up?
Well, this is really the ultimate question that these scientists are trying to figure out. They say that other scientists have come up with a body of work that now suggests that the natural occurring microbes that exist in the Gulf of Mexico waters, which many people have been pointing to as the way that this oil would just naturally disappear, that perhaps that won't work as fast as originally had hoped, that this oil sitting at the depths that it's sitting at is in a atmosphere and an environment that's so different from what they really knew much about, that it could take 3 or 4 years before you see this manifestation of how this oil just sitting there and the exposure over time to these marine organisms, how that might affect like the grouper, the snapper, the shrimp, all the fish that people like to eat out of the Gulf of Mexico. So they say that is the big unknown at this point.
Story.
Well, it's been extremely popular with our guests.
As the Gulf beaches hurt in the wake of the BP oil spill, Harry Potter came to the rescue again. Wizarding World opened in mid-June, and it's been a magnet for tourists.
So that guests have the opportunity to either wait a short period of time to come into the Wizarding World, or they can come back at a designated time and come straight in.
This was definitely a trip to Disney and Universal Studios to see all the attractions.
The lure of Harry Potter has helped other theme parks in Orlando, where tourism officials say in June revenues were up 8.5% from last year.
Honestly, all of you, we have guests.
How many people are interested in flying?
Tourists can fly at the iFly with the help of a wind tunnel, unlike a Potter movie where only a broom is needed.
We started out the season a little bit quiet, but I think everybody did. And then all of a sudden, we just started taking off. A lot of people are coming in because we know Harry Potter's open right next door.
And the Gulf oil spill has helped attractions inland.
We have seen that there's been an increase to the attractions because of the oil spill, as people are looking for other things to do.
Some still come to the Gulf beaches.
A very small percentage of our beaches have actually been affected, yet we're into the billions of losses.
I found down here.
It's clear to see that our perception issues are really what's at stake here.
In St. Pete Clearwater, one thing you won't find is oil.
When people think of a vacation here, and most people do come here twice a year if they come at all, you know, they think of warm waters and blue skies and warm sunshine and sun tanning on our beaches. And that image has been affected in a negative way for a very long time to come. And so it's going to be very difficult to get our imagery back as a result of the oil spill.
Meantime, Florida tourism will have to lean on Harry.
Chocolate frog everywhere.
Chocolate frog!
John Cowell, CNN, Orlando.
Im argentinischen Santa Fe ist ein Kunstflieger vor 3000 Zuschauern verunglückt, als in der Luft eine Tragfläche seiner Maschine abbrach. Der Pilot löste geistesgegenwärtig seinen Fallschirm aus und blieb unverletzt. Das Wrack ging in Flammen auf.
Eigentlich haben wir ja noch Sommer, genauer gesagt Hochsommer. Aber das Wetter in Deutschland ist für August viel zu nass. Allein bis heute fiel mehr Regen als sonst im ganzen Monat. Ungewöhnlich niedrig sind auch die Temperaturen, die in den vergangenen Tagen ja oft nicht mal die 20-Grad-Marke erreicht haben. Daniela Stolze berichtet.
Es sieht aus wie im Herbst, dabei sind wir mitten im Hochsommer. Schon seit Tagen lässt sich die Sonne nicht mehr blicken. Dieses Wetter schlägt einem langsam aufs Gemüt.
Das ist eine Katastrophe.
Grauenvoll. Es wird langsam Zeit, dass es besser wird.
Normalerweise liegt die Regenmenge für den gesamten August bei 79 Liter pro Quadratmeter. Ein Wert, der bereits heute, also Mitte des Monats, erreicht wurde. Besonders viel Regen hat bis jetzt Nürnberg abbekommen. Hier fielen in den ersten beiden Augustwochen 128 Liter pro Quadratmeter. Fast doppelt so viel wie normalerweise im gesamten Monat.
Nach der warmen und teilweise viel zu trockenen ersten Sommerhälfte hat die Natur das Regendefizit teilweise jetzt mehr als ausgeglichen. Bisschen dumm gelaufen, dass es ausgerechnet in der Hauptferienzeit passieren musste.
Das Hauptproblem sind die aufgeweichten Böden. Hier im nordrhein-westfälischen Herdecke drohen 2 Häuser einzustürzen, da der Hang vor ihnen abgerutscht ist.
Ich war noch im Bademantel, als es plötzlich klingelte und raus, raus, raus.
Der nasse Boden war auch mit ein Grund für das ICE-Unglück bei Neustadt an der Weinstraße. Dieser Müllwagen rutschte mit dem gesamten Hang in die Tiefe. 15 Menschen wurden verletzt. Und auch die Bauern leiden darunter. Sie können ihr Getreide nicht ernten, da die schweren Erntemaschinen auf den nassen Böden nicht eingesetzt werden. Und längst nicht vergessen ist das Hochwasserdrama in Sachsen Anfang August. Binnen einer Stunde stieg der Pegel um 4 Meter. Mehrere Städte, darunter Zittau und Görlitz, wurden überflutet. Auch heute noch leiden die Menschen unter den Folgen. Doch der Regen hat ein Ende. So langsam lässt sich die Sonne wieder blicken wie hier an der Ostsee. Es ist ein Vorgeschmack aufs Wochenende. Dann kommt nämlich der Sommer zurück, so wie es sich gehört.
And they're little microchips, just like a veterinarian might implant in a dog or cat, so that in the future, at any point in time, if for whatever reason these turtles are captured or caught, the scientists, biologists would be able to tell that these were in fact rehabilitated turtles. Anna?
John, such a great story, I got to say, and it was so wonderful to see these turtles returning to their natural habitat. Tell me, whilst you were out on the water, did you see any signs of other marine life? Is that evident out there in the Gulf of Mexico, or not yet?
No, not really. You know, it's certainly all out there. We saw, you know, there are a lot of boats going out, people going out fishing and just boating in this particular area. We weren't really that far out, literally just a mile offshore. So it was, you know, we really did not see any other marine life out there. Water was a little bit choppy, too, so that makes it a little more difficult to spot other creatures out there. Anna?
For sure. Some of the animals that were rescued from the contaminated Gulf waters are being returned to their natural habitats. John Zarilla takes a look at how some endangered turtles are settling back in.
You have to wonder, did these sea turtles know where they were? Do you think when you bring them out here that they have some sort of that somehow they know they're home, finally?
I'd like to think that they do, but it just depends on the individual animal. Some are real excited to be out here by flapping their flippers. Others are pretty sedate, but
sedate?
He's behaving pretty well right about now. Turtle.
Megan Kapersky, a Florida Wildlife Commission biologist, along with National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration scientists, brought 23 endangered Kemp's Ridley turtles to a release point 1 mile out in the Gulf of Mexico. During the past 3 months, these turtles were rescued from the Gulf, covered in oil from the Deepwater Horizon spill. How bad did they look? They look great now, but how bad did they look when they were first rescued?
When these animals were first rescued, there was a varying degree of oil. A lot of the animals that were coming into Audubon Nature Institute were very, very heavily oiled initially, and a lot of the turtles that we saw coming into Gulf World out of Orange Beach and Destin captures were moderately to lightly oiled.
Nursed back to health, these are the first of the rehabilitated turtles to go home. They are the lucky ones. More than 1,000 sea turtles were pulled from the Gulf. Less than half of them survived. Retired Admiral Thad Allen, who leads the spill response, helped with the release. This was a long-awaited moment.
But I think it's emblematic of us starting to look forward into recovery. We've still got a lot of work to do, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no greater place to be than here today.
The release site was off Cedar Key on Florida's west coast. Of the 23 turtles released, 1 was found on shore, 11 of them off Destin, Florida, and the other 11 off of Venice, Louisiana.
Yes.
2 at a time, the Kemp's Ridleys were carefully lowered to the water, their flippers going a mile a minute. They're young turtles, juveniles, no more than 13 years old. The biologists say they know the oil is still out there. That worries them some. But they believe here in this part of the Gulf, the turtles will be just fine. As they hit the water, the Kemp's Ridleys scoot across the surface. It's home, and they're back.
And as you see there really is,
you know, kind of the progression here for you, and it's really amazing when you see how much is actually going on. We're going to go ahead and head into this northern part of Pakistan, of central part of Pakistan, I should say. Here's Sucker right over here. There's Jacobabad right there. So the first image that you saw was actually back from July 18th. This one is from August 8th. I'll go ahead and move to this side so you can see the dates as well, and you can see how much the river had grown even so early on when we had all of that heavy rain. This is before the river continued to fill up, though, and as time progressed, just 3 days later, it was amazing to see how much water was both behind the Sukur Dam and actually ahead of it as well. And you can see how much the water is going to try to find the easiest way that it can get out. If it can't make it through here, it'll find other ways. And this side of the river is actually not doing too bad, but as we head over to this western side, you can see the water starting to spill over now, and in some cases over 40 kilometers wide. Now, as we move forward in time and look at the latest image that has come in from NASA from August 17th, it's really spectacular. The water, look at that, going all the way past Jacobabad. And this is significant because you're more about, what, 70 kilometers away here. So this is just an example of how widespread the flooding is and how it continues. The second wave just getting now to Sukur and is expected to continue moving down here downstream to the next place on the list, which would be Kotri. At Kotri, we're expecting that water to continue rising. You're just getting the first wave. Now the second wave starting along, significant flooding is expected along this area. The river continues to make its way out to the sea, and by next week we have the full moon, and that the Pakistan Met Department is saying could really complicate the situation because you have higher tides push the water inland, and that could slow the flow of the river out to sea. So complicated and so many things that are going on. On top of that, of course, we still have rain. In these areas right in here, we could see some significant flooding as well. That's going to be a concern over the next 24 hours. And then there's the heat. So in the heat, we're dealing with temperatures that are extremely hot. Feels like 45, 50 degrees in the shade when you factor in the humidity. Right now it's 38 degrees in Sukur, Christie, 43 in Karachi. As we head through tomorrow, a similar situation, high heat, high humidity, and not looking good as far as rain, especially in the areas a bit farther to the north. So many things going on in Pakistan that are...
From the peak of its summit to the valleys below, when Eyjafjallajökull erupted, all life beneath the crater was smothered in ash. For farmers, the choking, clogging particles had a devastating effect.
Our whole earth was covered with this.
Paula Christian Book's crop fields will take 2 years to restore. Her cattle have spent the summer in sheds. Sharp, glass-like ash particles harmful to cows' teeth lie hidden in the grass.
We have not been able to harvest our field, and we have to buy hay, and we have to keep them inside, and it's not good for them.
The tourism industry's busiest months were hit too. The South Iceland region alone lost $4.5 million of trade.
After the eruption, we get cancellation every day, and April and May was totally nobody here.
There were in fact several eruptions here on Eyjafjallajökull. The first was here. It created this ridge 100 meters high. But the main eruption, the big one which created the ash cloud, happened 6 kilometers further up. Guides who spend their days walking this region suddenly found it a no-go area.
The big main eruption, if you were standing right here when that was on, you have maybe saw 1 meter in front. If you saw 1 meter, at some points when you held your hand out like that, you didn't see it. You couldn't see your nose. You couldn't see your nose for some parts even.
But now, quite literally from the ashes, there's hope of a dramatic reversal of fortune, with Eyjafjallajökull now drawing growing numbers of tourists to this still settling landscape.
There's fresh lava, so yeah, certainly. I mean, that's really exciting for us.
It's amazing, and it's really is a privilege to, be able to walk through here. And there were parts in the beginning where, you could actually feel the heat coming off the ground.
But the volcano could yet have a further say in the tourism industry's recovery, with no one certain the eruptions are over.
We are monitoring it and following it, so it's, I don't want to say it's going to happen again, but you never know, actually.
For now, though, tourism officials will just keep hoping the volcano continues to let visitors to get this close. Matt Cole, BBC News.
Nur langsam begreifen die Hobbyfilmer, welch gewaltiges Naturschauspiel sich auf der Ostseeinsel Usedom vor ihrer Kamera zusammengebraut hat.
Wahnsinn. Eine Windhose ist das. Hat's alles weggehämmert.
Bei näherer Betrachtung zeigt sich, dass selbst ausgewachsene Bäume einfach mitgerissen werden. Tornados wie dieser kommen immer wieder in Deutschland vor. Allerdings bedarf es einer besonderen Wetterlage.
Wichtig bei der Entstehung der gestrigen Tornados war der Wind, der mit der Höhe deutlich stärker wurde. Dadurch entstehen Luftwirbel, die sich in den kräftigen Aufwinden von Gewittern allmählich aufrichten, dabei immer schneller rotieren und schließlich als Rüssel auch den Boden erreichen.
Während die Schäden auf Usedom vergleichbar gering bleiben, zerstörte im hessischen Ortsteil Lumda eine andere Windhose 10 Häuser und richtete an 44 weiteren Gebäuden zum Teil schwere Schäden an.
Auf einmal, es hat richtig laut so gebrummt, so als ob irgendein großes Fahrzeug irgendwo kommt, und auf einmal flog alles weg, und dann haben wir uns schnell unter die Getreidesilos sind wir geflüchtet. Man hat schon ziemlich Angst, also sein Leben erstmal. Ne?
Während hier jetzt die Schäden beseitigt werden, sagen die Meteorologen für Donnerstag eine ähnlich gefährliche Wetterlage voraus.
Der Tornado kam plötzlich und dauerte nur wenige Augenblicke. Dachziegel flogen durch die Luft. Etwa 50 Häuser wurden allein hier im hessischen Grünberg nahezu komplett abgedeckt. Es grenzt an ein Wunder, dass niemand verletzt wurde. Heute am Tag wird den Anwohnern erst klar, was passiert ist.
Ich wollte einfach das Schlafzimmerfenster zumachen, also mal gucken, ob alles sicher ist. Das ging nicht. Ich bin gegen den Wind nicht angekommen.
Es waren 15 bis 20 Sekunden natürlich panische Angst in dem Moment. Ne? Also so schnell wie das aufgezogen war, so schnell war das auch vorbei.
70 Kilometer weiter in Schlüchtern schlug der Sturm eine Schneise durch die ganze Stadt. In Hessen ist ein Schaden in Millionenhöhe entstanden. Auch auf der Ostseeinsel Usedom wütete eine Windhose, fegte über die Felder, riss Bäume mit sich. Hier Aufnahmen eines Amateurfilmers.
Oh. Das ist ja Wahnsinn. Ja. Meinst du, wie die wütet da drüben?
Hoffentlich kommt der Ding nicht zurück. An Tornados ist das Gefährliche, dass wir sie nicht vorhersagen können. Wir können höchstens sagen, es gibt heute eine gewisse Wahrscheinlichkeit für Tornados, aber davor kann man sich dann nicht schützen.
Die Aufräumarbeiten werden wohl Wochen dauern. In Hessen müssen ganze Orte saniert werden.
Über der Nordsee, dass diese schwülwarme tropische Luft abgetrieben hat, mit heftigen Gewittern, Regengüssen und sogar mit Tornados. Mittlerweile sind wir dann wieder beim immer noch halbwegs sommerlichen Mittelmaß. Es gab viele Wolken, zwischendurch aber auch Sonne, im Süden zum Teil auch Gewitter. Und heute Nacht wird es schon in Skandinavien, aber alle Länder rund ums Mittelmeer können immer noch mit sommerlichen bis hochsommerlichen Temperaturen aufwarten. Und dabei regnet es zum Teil auch kräftig im Nordwesten Europas. Morgen am stärksten davon betroffen der Süden Großbritanniens und zum Teil auch Irland. Am Mittelmeer dagegen kaum Schauer unterwegs. Stichwort Phytoplankton, das ein wichtiges Element ist bei der Aufnahme von Kohlendioxid aus der Atmosphäre in die Meere. Und ein genereller Abnahme von Phytoplankton steht auch jetzt im Zusammenhang mit der Klimadiskussion und dem Klimawandel. Wir sehen hier ein Satellitenbild von Grönland, der Osten Grönlands. Und hier vor der Küste sehen wir Phytoplanktonblüte, diese grünlichen Farben. Und die ziehen sich bis fast zur Südspitze Grönlands. Die unterschiedlichen Farben kommen dadurch zustande, dass es unterschiedliche Planktonspezies gibt, die in diesem kalten, nährstoffreichen Wasser wachsen. So viel zum Wetter. Ich wünsche Ihnen noch einen schönen Abend.